Hey guys, this is AB with Beat Machine Productions at beatmachineproductions.com. Just coming to you again today with another beat breakdown video. Before we get into it, please make sure that you comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell thing down there at the bottom so you can know when the videos come out and you can check them out first. Like I said, a track that I did not too long ago is what we're going to be looking at today. So without further ado, let's hop into it. Okay, so the very first thing that I want to look at in this one is this chord progression. I want to say that this one either came from a MIDI pack or it came from Scalar 2. I'm not sure. I don't really remember right now. But this chord progression is really what kind of sets everything off. It's a great progression, and I'll just play it back for you once here. So yeah, when we look at this and we break it down, you've got a lot of lush chords, lots of notes all over this thing, and that's what I love about it. It's really stacked, it's really full, it's really lush. And when I first heard it, I didn't really go through and analyze the chords, just with my knowledge of music theory or whatever. But what I did is I went in, and you can do this in Logic, and you just highlight the specific notes, and it'll give you the chord structure right here. So this first one is that F sharp major 7th. Okay, it's got the 9, it's got the 13 on it. The second chord, after we highlight that one, is a B flat 11 with a flat 9, no third. Okay, this next one is a B flat 11 flat 9. Okay, I'm sorry, B flat minor 7 flat 9 11. And then essentially the turnaround, or the last chord in the progression before it repeats, is a G sharp minor 7 with a flat 5. Okay, so when we play those, and then it turns around here, get a little bit of a melodic element with some of the comping. So that was kind of the basis of the whole thing. After that, I went in and I took essentially the top part, or some of the notes. Yeah, essentially the top part of the progression, if you look at it as a horizontal stack, and I added that with a different patch. So you'll find with this track, I wanted to get a lot of that kind of white noise, hissy, kind of real high up in the register sound, and you'll see that with a few different patches that I used. So I just took that top, copied it, pasted over to a different patch. This one came from Arcade. That first one, this is actually a native patch in Logic, just an electric piano that I really like. So yeah, this one came from Arcade, and then I took the bottom part of that progression and went and found myself a nice sound in Omnisphere, and as you can hear, kind of that little dashy, hissy sound. So when we put all of those together, really kind of the keyboard sounds, we'll get this. So you just have these really nice layers. After that, I went in and I just took some small elements of the chord progression and I put them in on pads. So this pad here, a little bit of a choir feel that you get, but it's not too heavy. It's just got a few attacks in it. So it really helps thicken out the sound down there in the mid to lows. And the last thing I did chord wise was I did essentially the same thing, only this one changes a little bit more with the progression. That other one was kind of stagnant. So this one here. So that's kind of the feel that you get in that. And this one is much different than the other kind of chordal sounds that I use as far as laying out the progression. This track, this that I named Analog Stack Synth Light, this one is kind of the glue between this first part where we have all of the chords and the next part where we start to kind of add in more of the synth wave elements, right? So when we go back and we check out all of these together, we get this. So if you'll hear that analog stack synth light, doesn't quite fit with those other sounds, but like I said, it's the glue between this section and the next section that I'm about to kind of break down for you. Okay, so next what I did is I took that original progression and I put it on that same sound, that analog stack synth light. And here, like I said, is where you start to get more of the synth wave sound. It's really, really big, really full, really kind of has that abrasive, brassy sound to it. I even put some Valhalla reverb on it to really give it even more presence. So turn that down, threw it over to the left. Really actually kind of did a good bit of panning in this one. And that pairs really, really well with this next, excuse me, sound that I added. This is the big pulse waves. Like I said, it just kind of helps us round out that synth wave sound. And if you'll notice, this and the analog stack synth are really kind of turned down in the mix because they're a lot. I mean, you want to be able to have that sound, you want that element in there, but you don't want it to be super in your face, especially on this one, because what I did want to kind of be the focal point for the sound that I was going with was this big pulsy synth right here. This really kind of brings it home. So that rhythmic figure, along with the chord progression, kind of gives us what you hear a lot of in this one. So when we put, and I'm gonna turn this on as well, when we put all of like the synth pads, that kind of, like I said, that synth wave sound really comes out right here. So when we put all this together, okay, so the next thing that I did was I felt that there needed to be a little bit of a melodic element here. So I went through and I found this guitar patch. This one is via Arcade. And I went in and I just kind of plucked out and put in this nice little melody for guitar. So what you end up with, and when you put that with a progression, let's just add in these electric keys here. It's actually really, really nice. So that's kind of what you get with that. And this is an element that's very similar in the way that I use it, that the big pulse wave is, and kind of this analog stack synth light. You get some elements of it when you're hearing the entire track together, but you don't get a ton of it. Like if you're really paying attention, you can hear that melody back there. And it's just like a nice little, oh wow, I didn't realize that was there. That just adds another layer to the complexity here. So yeah, I put that in. I think it came out okay. All right, so the next thing I want to break down is sort of the drum track for this. A lot of stuff going on here. The first thing initially when I got the progression and I put it on a patch and I was listening to it, I just found a loop. I just found a fully done drum loop that I thought sounded really good with it. This one here. So that's essentially the loop. It's got some automation in it, so as it's getting ready to fade out. So that's the loop that I went with first, just to kind of put some of the other stuff in there, and so that I just have, you know, a good percussion basis to work with. But when I started to go in and do drums and do some MIDI percussion, as far as drums go, one of the first things that I did was I went and I found this shaker loop from Somatics. So let's check that out. So this is something that I put in. It really just kind of works itself in the background, fills up some of that space, right? And definitely adds, it gives us a really good vibe, sort of that really gives us some forward motion as far as the drums go. So within the track, you'll never have the loop and the other things going at the same time, like that original drum loop and this shaker. They won't work at the same time. So this shaker goes along with sort of the MIDI drums that I put in. So we'll take that shaker and we'll also drop in our clap, which is just a little simple clap. I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. Couple of accidents right there. It's fine though. So after that, adding in the hi-hat. So like I said, nothing too crazy, just making sure that we keep a nice kind of forward motion to this whole thing. Where's the kick? Did I lose it? There it is. Yeah, of course. Good. Makes it better. So our kick, once we add that in. So that kick really goes along with that big pulse wave, that big synth wave sound that we were going for there, and we kind of outline that. Right? So that's kind of where we wanted to get the kick and the drums and some of the melodic elements all in there together. So we really got that kick to line up in a few different places with what we had. All right, so the last thing to check out in this one is kind of the bass, the 808. So the first bass that you'll hear in this one on the playback is going to be the heavy sub bass. It's native to Logic, and this one's more of a slide bass, very smooth. So here's that again with the MIDI selected and soloed, so we can kind of isolate that. So that was that's the first bass that you'll hear on that. The main bass is going to be this one here, which is going to mirror what you get in that in the pulsy synth track that I have named. So it's essentially the exact same patch. I just did a different pattern with it. Okay. So yeah, that's the bass. When we put it in with that synth line, it matches up really, really well. So when we put all the elements together, with some automation, some arranging, obviously we've got a few things down here, some crashes, some reverse impacts, and just little things like that to kind of help bring this thing alive. This is kind of what you get. Beat machine in the building. Machine in the building. Well, folks, that's pretty much it for that one. If you like the video, please leave a comment. Please make sure that you subscribe, hit the notification bell, all of that good stuff. Check out the website, beatmachineproductions.com. We've got beats going up there all the time, just about every day, every other day. And keep your eyes on the YouTube. We got videos flying up as well. Until next time.